the very well-traveled Abby Barmore back from Central City. How was it, Abby? Give us the rundown. What did you think? And the most important question, did you go to Dairy Queen in Central City?
Of course I had to go to Dairy Queen. You're right. It is a very nice Dairy Queen, especially with like the surrounding city that just looks like it was built when the town was built. But Dairy Queen's like very new, and it was awesome. I had to get a Blizzard, of course.
Is that the Dairy Queen in Central City?
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow, who took that picture?
To the left, they have like an original like Dairy Queen sign.
Oh, man.
I thought that was cool too.
Yeah, that's very handsome.
The parking lot's huge.
It's family owned, third generation family owned, by the way. We heard from the proud owners of Dairy Queen last week after our show. So, but
we should say why Abby was in Central City.
Yeah.
Is this you excited?
She did other things besides go to Dairy Queen.
Right.
But yeah, talk about the volleyball match, Abby. What did you think? What was the atmosphere like, and can they keep topping this and finding new creative ways to showcase Nebraska volleyball?
The atmosphere out there in Central City was amazing, and that new facility that they just built, the capacity is like 2,100 people, and it was full. They had people standing right behind me, like they got as many people in there as they possibly could.
You got some knees at the back.
Yeah.
I
might have had people kicking
Cameron
my chair.
Indoor Duke game when they're like right on top of you.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it was fun, and everyone was really excited, and there was people coming up to us like, man, we're so happy that they're here in Central City and all these things. But as for the game, I guess maybe the most important part, it was good. They swept Wichita State, and Wichita State actually kept it a little bit close, which was good for them. As for the Huskers, there was a lot of freshmen that really showed what they could do and gave us, bright glimpses of the future. Harper Murray was one of them, actually started an outside hitter over a couple of juniors, Lindsey Krause and Allie Batenhorst. So that was huge. And she hit like 391. So she really went off, and that was fun to see. And there was also people like Lainey Choboy had a lot of big defensive plays, and Bergen Riley, who's in the, I guess, matchup going on for the starting setter job. She did a really nice job and started 2 of the 3 sets. So, there's a lot to look forward to and a bright future there for those young players.
Who would you say does anybody have a leg up in that, in the setter? They got to determine the starting setter, right?
Yeah.
Who's got a leg up in that?
Right now, I want to say that it's Bergen.
Interesting. True freshman.
She's a freshman, and she doesn't have much experience playing at Nebraska. She just has 1 game under her belt. But she does have a lot of experience playing for USA Volleyball. She actually played for the U.S. national team. That's like the highest U.S. team that they have last summer, and set against Canada, and they swept them. So she has a lot of external experience, but so does Kennedy Orr. She's a junior, and she has Big Ten experience and also has done some of those U.S. volleyball things. But on Saturday, I would say that Bergen, the way that she ran the offense was a little bit more consistent, and they hit really well with her. I think both of them were close to 400, and that's great for a volleyball team.
Oh, yeah.
Any word, Abby, on where they could take this game next year?
I think the next place that they're going to try to hit is Ewing. John Cook has talked a lot about how they just built a new high school gym, right? Is it Summer?
Yeah, it's Summerlin Schools.
Summerlin, yeah.
We drove by there, Sip, on our drive back from Ainsworth.
Ewing.
It's a brand new high school. Hausman Construction is built. It's Clearwater, Orchard, Ewing. I think it's all mixed together as one consolidated school. It's really nice. And they have a gym kind of like Central City there, which that would be an ideal, nice new facility. But it's cool. I love that they do that. All right, let's get to the mailbag, though, Abby. What do you have to lead us off with here on the mailbag?
All right, here we go. What are your thoughts on the quarterback room, and do you think the Huskers should grab another quarterback from the portal or just develop the guys they have?
I think they're at the point now where they just have to work with what they have. I just don't know what you're going to find that makes sense when the numbers are this tight for Nebraska right now. I mean, you would have liked to have 4. They don't have 4. They brought in Jack Wolke as a walk-on. It's tough, but you just need 3 anyway. How many? You can only work 3 quarterbacks with your top offense in practice.
Well, who are you going to bring in that quarterback's going to look at it and say, well, they got their starter.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have
Just
a
like
very,
Casey did.
yeah, you're going to have a very limited pick anyway, right?
Yeah. The only addition that would make sense to me would be the return of a guy like Logan Smothers. Like that would be the only thing that would really make sense because he wouldn't have to get caught up. He's already been there.
Mm-hmm.
But if he wants to start somewhere,
Yeah,
So
but even Logan,
so the odds of even that happening,
Right.
it just seems slim to
it's
none.
really hard to keep quality quarterbacks that aren't starting. Go back to like Noah Vedral. You know, they go, oh, this is a legacy guy. He's from Nebraska. He was with Frost at Central Florida. He followed Frost to Nebraska. He'll never leave.
Right. He left.
He left and he started at Rutgers.
Yeah. I erred. I mean, I thought they had a shot to have Casey Thompson and Sims. I don't know why I thought that. Well, part of the reason is because Charles, his dad, was pretty convincing that.
What month was that though?
It was December.
What month are we in right now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's May.
A lot has changed.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you've pointed out, NIL and the portal have changed this dramatically. I mean, he's actually can make real money going somewhere else. And
He's making real money here though.
Yeah, but he could start somewhere else.
That's the key.
All right.
He's a 24 to be 25-year-old quarterback. He didn't go somewhere to make a lot of money and sit. He wants to make a lot of money and start.
Yeah. And see, in December, he wouldn't have known there were opportunities, for instance, at Auburn or Florida, which came out of spring, not satisfied with where they were in the quarterback race. So he wouldn't have known that. Then when those things start to develop, when those situations start to develop, the conversation changes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one. How does the commitment of Ian Flint affect Carter Nelson's decision?
It doesn't. I think they're going to take two tight ends, and Carter Nelson's a different kind of tight end than Ian Flint. Carter Nelson's like almost a receiver that will flex out, but they'll take two tight ends. You look at that scholarship distribution chart, there's definitely room for them to bring in two this year in the class.
It's interesting to listen to people close to Carter Nelson that raised like Carter would, I think he would embrace the idea of playing wide out. You know, but I don't think that'll happen, but he's
a flex tight end.
Definitely a flex tight end.
He's not an inline tight end.
Yeah.
Which inline tight end, if you're not, that means like with your hand down, blocking at the line of scrimmage, almost like as an extra offensive.
He'll have to do that occasionally for sure.
Yeah, like Chase Androff, he's an inline tight end, almost could be an offensive tackle.
Right.
It was brought up, like people are asking if Nelson could fit like the Bonner role, and it doesn't seem like that he's that type of player.
Somebody asked that on on
the chat. Yeah.
No, he's not that type of player. He doesn't look at all like Bonner.
Mm-mm.
Bonner's a big, thick receiver. Carter's not that.
So they're huge Chiefs fans, the Nelsons, and they love Travis Kelce.
Okay.
I mean,
there you go.
That's how he wants to play, is like Travis Kelce. All right, what do you got next?
All right, next one. What is the role of Nebraska's new in-house NIL director, and why is that position important?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously the schools don't really control NIL. It's still really controlled by the collectives, and that is still the case here. I mean, the collectives everywhere have the major say as far as the payouts and the money and the operation of NIL as it's structured right now with state laws. Having an in-house director, I just think it's a title. It's somebody that can work as a liaison to the athletes on campus and help them maybe with some direct deals, because there is more things that you can do now as an institution. And I think Trev Alberts wants to make sure they have somebody on campus that can do that, because the collective is a totally different thing than like having somebody on campus.
It's confusing.
Yeah. And I know it's to do things, for one, by the book, make sure you're not breaking any whatever rules or guidelines are with NIL, but also to explore ways that you can diversify your NIL within the framework of the current rules. So like, I know one of the big things that Nebraska has really been pushing their collective to try to do is international players and try to get them, find different outlets for them to make money through passive income. So a guy like this, like Jonathan Bateman, could find different ways and explore different avenues for, like, say, for an international player to be able to make more money at Nebraska than maybe they previously were. So just having someone to spearhead that, I think, is really important. And it shows another forward-thinking measure Nebraska's taking.
What is passive income?
You can't like be in a commercial, do a radio show, run a camp. You can have your face be put on a t-shirt. Someone sells a t-shirt and they give you money. So you can't actively go make money. like work for the money, but you can get money that's made off of your name, image, likeness.
So Jonathan Bateman, if Jamie Vaughn runs the compliance, he makes just a little bit over 200,000 at Nebraska. Jonathan Bateman was kind of the number 2, making 71,000. So I think NIL has become such a big part that you want to have somebody in that compliance carry the title to oversee that. So
yeah,
I think there was this, the way it was framed up, it was like this is not running the NIL this hire. Like 1890 and the collectives out there everywhere. Those are still the key pieces that you have to have. I mean, if they shut down that part of NIL at Nebraska, they'd be in a lot of trouble because that is who is paying the players the monthly payouts right now.
The character that could really make this work is Jason Bateman. the character in Ozark. He would be incredible.
Marty Bird.
Marty Bird would be incredible in the NIL world.
Yes, he would.
He would.
He'd be great.
Yeah. All right, Abby, we got time.
Jason Bateman.
2 more, 2 quick ones.
Okay. How hard will Matt Rule hit the portal once the scholarships go down? And will they, if they are still 3 over?
I'm getting the sense they're not really going to. Like, it just, I mean, I say that, and then like by the time we post this show, there'll be some guy visiting campus, but it doesn't feel like they're in a huge hurry because I look at what On3 has in this portal database. There's not much available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would help you.
And you pair that with his comments after the spring game where he didn't seem like he was like going to get on a plane to start trying to work a transfer offensive lineman. Like, I think if the right guy comes along that they think can immediately help them, sure. But right now, like you said, Sean, I just don't know the odds of that guy coming about and having an interest enough to commit to Nebraska.
It doesn't feel like that at all. I'm with Sean. His demeanor, his attitude toward the portal it wasn't aggressive. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. He didn't have that sort of mindset at all. I mean, I think he's very conscious about making sure that his players understand he likes the team. He's always bent that way. And that kind of goes along with this discussion.
Well, you don't want to force it. And I think what's in the portal now, like at least what you see that's available, a lot of it's a force. Like you'd really be trying to force a player into work that may not work. And then you're going to figure that out pretty quickly when they get here, that this guy's not ready to play. You don't want to bring a guy in that's just going to be a backup.
No, and thus, unless you're talking about a defensive lineman. I mean, there's certain realities, like when we asked Tony White in, I guess it was January, what do you still need? And what's he say? Well, all coaches always look for big men, right? So there's that. I mean, if there's a big man that presents himself and is, I'm talking about defensive tackle now. And I'm not talking about an edge guy. I'm talking about an interior guy. If that presents itself, you probably take him if he can play. But it doesn't seem like they're on the lookout for much.
Well, if anything, you'd almost rather have that available scholarship or two be kicked over to the next year.
Yeah.
Because, Frost, I think, was overly aggressive his first year. They added extra players that maybe they shouldn't have.
Not out of the portal, or
no, just
recruited
transfers and recruits in general, roster additions.
Yeah,
and I think when you look back at it, you would have loved to have those spots for that class of 2019, which was the really good class he had on paper with Wandale Robinson and all those guys. You would have liked to have been able to use those spots then. So it's a delicate tightrope, and Matt Rule has to kind of figure out what makes sense.
These are fascinating roster conversations. I mean, you had it in your column the other day. 15 members of the class of 2022 are gone. 15 scholarship guys.
And some of those guys exhausted eligibility.
Yeah.
But it really is eye-opening that these guys, 15 players, were here for less than a year.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a big number.
All right. Hope they had short-term leases. Final question, Abby.
All right. We've been talking about Dairy Queen in Central City. So what is your favorite Blizzard?
I'm an Oreo guy.
Okay.
Snickers. And there was a point when they took Snickers off the menu for a while.
Is that right?
And actually I went there to get specifically a Blizzard one night and they didn't have it. And I tweeted my frustrations about it. Well, the Dairy Queen national handle tweeted back at me apologizing. And then
you are kidding.
When they put it back on the menu, they tweeted at me and
You're
said,
kidding me.
It's back. So I like to think that I personally had a hand in bringing back the Snickers blizzard.
Well, I don't
Make
think
you
there's any
proud.
question you did.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome.
Right.
America.
Yeah. I would say cookie dough, but I like dilly bars. I mean, if I go there, if I treat myself, I feel like I did something good in this world, I go get a dilly bar. Red.
A dilly-
Color of
How,
the
how many
shirt.
dilly bars are you going to eat at Minnesota?
I have a couple. I have a couple.
Just 2? That's
Yeah,
it?
just
You're
a
going to cap it at 2?
There'll be some nervous.
It's going to be hot. It's going to be delicious. It's not like the cold, snowy.
Rob, I mean, how many do you think should I eat? 2 seems like enough.
I was going to say 3 to 4.
You know what's really hard to do is go
One
to
per
Dairy
quarter.
Queen and eat a full hot meal and then justify getting the ice cream. Like it's like you're like, I'm just screwed if I do this. So like you have to kind of
Yeah.
like
Screwed.
You're making a commitment at that point.
Yeah, you are.
like you can't be like, all right, I'm gonna get the burger, the fries, the drink,
And
and
a
I'm
dilly
gonna
bar.
come back up and get a blizzard.
You're
Right.
dictating the
That's
rest of your day and
Right.
probably the next morning.
Yeah.
At
you're
that
just
point.
living in deep sorrow, like as you hit the gym the next day.
I am
Sweating
living in
out.
deep sorrow, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that it, Abby?
What about you?
Yeah. I like the Oreo one, but they also have like a chocolate brownie extreme one.
Oh, hello.
Super good.
Hello.
Which
Big
one did you
chocolate
get
cow.
when you were there?
The chocolate
In
brownie
Central
extreme.
City. Nice.
It was good.
Anything
was
with the
good.
word like extreme in it tied to ice cream is interesting
Extreme?
to me.
Was
Their
it,
ice
was it
cream-
extreme?
Yeah,
Okay.
it definitely was.
Their ice cream cakes too. Like that's always kind of a nice alternative. Like when your wife's like, "Hey, what do you want for your birthday cake?" You know, you got
You
young
like the
kids.
DQ ice cream cake, huh?
Well, you know, you have young kids. They want to do
All
a cake, blow
Yeah.
candles out, and you know,
They're-
that's a good kind of like
Safe.
Hey, let's get an ice cream cake.
It's a
You know,
safety net one.
They're not
for sure.
bad.
Yeah, they're good. I've played that card before, and
And
it's quick too. You can
Sometimes
go
when
get
you-
it quick.
When they first
Mm.
come out of the freezer, though, you need like a chainsaw to cut those things. I
Which
mean,
is good.
they're rock solid.
Gives you time for when it's just sitting there on the table and you're trying to round up the kids
Yeah.
to sing happy birthday and the candles are burning. Like you need that thaw.
Yeah.
that thaw because they come out like a brick.
Yeah, you could get a blow dryer if you had to.
Put it in the oven.
I was like, you've had one before.